One. How's it going, people? Welcome to this week's episode of The Locker Room right here on Top 6 Fan TV. And it's an action-packed show we're going to have today discussing, among other things, tight race for the top four. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Squeaky Bum time. And we have Ahmed from Chelsea, Musem from United, and Echodu from the Arsenal here to discuss what is going to be a double game week and a preview of the action that is coming up. And we'll get into it right after this. Fantastic stuff. And welcome back again. And if you're just joining us, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the locker room right here on Top 6 Fan TV. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. Feel free to hit the like button. And at this point, I'm going to ask, the guests in our virtual studio to actually say what's up, kicking off with Ahmed.
Yes, Matthew. Thank you. Good to be here. Very excited to throw some.
Brilliant. Great. And then Moses Echodu.
Hi, everyone. Moses Echodu. A sleepless Arsenal fan.
just like many other Arsenal fans and United fans and Egyptian fans. So there's a lot of sleep depression. But Musem, welcome back to the show. Of course, a veteran of our young channel, attendee number one. Welcome back, my man.
Yeah, it's nice to be back. It's been a long time, eh?
Yeah, we've certainly been through a lot of things since your last appearance. Ole out, Gegen press in, Gegen depress in. Hey, a number of things, but at least you're still breathing and not sleepless like Echodu. So it looks like you expected what was going to eventually unfold. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, or rather, welcome to the show again. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we will be excited, to bring you some great action and great conversation. And the title of the show this week is Squeaky Bum Time, and the race for top four is actually getting started and is quite heated at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. We're going into a double game week. Games starting off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then you have another game week on Saturday. So lots of action, and the table could certainly look quite different by the time Monday comes through next week. But, just recapping the standings in the table at the moment. If we look at the table right now, in first position, obviously, is Manchester City. They look destined, if they can keep up their form, by the way, to retain the title. And they're quite playing, quite strongly this season. And even in the FA Cup, we did see what they did. And then Liverpool in the second place on 48 points. Man City on 57, Liverpool on 48 with a game in hand over them. Chelsea in third on 47 points with 24 games. Manchester United in fourth on 38 points with 22 games. So two games in hand over Chelsea. So Chelsea are going to be looking over their shoulder. West Ham in fifth with 23 games played, one more than United, but on 37 points. And then the Arsenal, but 21 games played in sixth and 36 points, tied with Spurs, who have a game in hand. So it's certainly looking quite squeaky there in the, if I call it the top seven spaces. And not to mention, further 2 points behind, you do have Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are also outside contenders. But ladies and gentlemen, let's kick off with the analysis and pose it to the gentlemen in here, kicking off with the chances of the runners for the top four. And I'll kick it off with a discussion around everyone's beloved Arsenal. Even the Man United fans, the Chelsea fans, the Liverpool fans, all love to speak about Arsenal. But I'll pose it to Mr. Echodu. Fantastic January window you had there. Great signings in there. Someone called Trusty, a defender called Trusty, rhymes quite well with trust the process. Coming in from the States, as well as Matt Turner, another goalkeeper coming in from the States. And, about 3/4 of the team heading out in the opposite direction. And I think they expected to sign some KCCA players, but the moves fell through. But alas, Eddie Nketiah and Lacazette look to be tasked with spearheading goal charge for Arsenal and spearheading and getting Arsenal into the top four. Moses, what are your thoughts on the developments there at the Emirates?
First of all, I think Arsenal's problems are bigger than what's on the pitch. They are bigger than Mikel Arteta, in as much as Arteta as himself has shortcomings. Because I've always thought that Arsenal lacked an attacking identity. In terms of defensive identity, it is starting to come together. But in terms of the attack, it's still very, very shallow. The dependence is so high on the individual brilliance of players like Emile Smith-Rowe, on the individual brilliance of players like Bukayo Saka, and of course the ever-running Gabriel Martinelli. So, but going into the transfer window, I think that is where Arsenal blundered. Even when Aubameyang was still in the squad, you always felt that Arsenal were short on goals. They were short on striking options. They lacked that person who was always going to put the ball in the back of the net. And I think probably this is where I would agree with Ian Wright that it's probably the right time to throw Gabriel Martinelli at the front and probably try and give a test to play Nicolas Pepe right behind him, because you think that he can actually thrive playing as a false nine, just dropping a little bit back to pick the ball and drive forward. So I think that for Arsenal, the way they went about the January business was very poor. They let go of Maitland-Niles, who for me, I thought what they should have kept by all means, given the fact that he's one of the most versatile players that the club have. He's able to play in the midfield, where you already have Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka competing for who can get the most red cards in the season. Then you have, Lokanga, who is yet to really stamp his foot onto this team. So you needed someone with the fight of Maitland-Niles. So for Arsenal, I think that they were very lackluster with the way they went about their transfer window. And given that, the part of the season that we have reached into, everyone is throwing everything at the kitchen sink. Everyone wants to, grab every single point that they can get their hands on. And I kid you not, what Antonio Conte is doing at Tottenham Hotspur is scary. I've been watching them, and they are scary. They have played 2 games short of everybody, actually 3 games short of everybody else. So that means that they have probably 9 points to compete for. As Arsenal, you have 2 games in hand that you're playing for. Those are just 6 points. And with the way Arsenal play, you can never be guaranteed that they'll even get a point from those games. So I think that they were very poor in their January business, and it's going to show.
They should have brought in a striker.
Yes, they should have gotten a striker, and even if they could have, if resources could have allowed them, they could have gotten another midfielder who can actually come in and help out. Because Thomas Partey, if he's not getting an injury, he's getting a red card. So there's always something going on there. And
Mabzi, do you agree? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Moses. Finish up. Sorry.
Okay. You remember before we came onto the show when we were conversing, and I told you that Arteta has a problem you look at what he's done with Emil Smith-Rowe. Of course, Smith went out, got injured. Now, by the time he was returning, that was the time when now Odegaard was resurging. He was coming on top of his game. But as a brilliant coach, you realize these are two young kids who can actually give you the results. Find a way of fitting them on that pitch. Find a way, and he's failed to do that. So again, as we get to the tail end of the season, the big boys are going to really show up. Tottenham Hotspur are going to show up. The only person that Arsenal could actually try and knock off the patch will be West Ham. So what Arsenal are looking at is the best of probably getting to the Europa League.
So in what position? 5th or 6th?
At this moment, the position doesn't really matter.
Yeah. What of a very worried Arsenal fan. Ahmed, let's bring in. What are your thoughts on what Moses has just put across? And then I'd also like you to comment on the fact that Squeaky Bum time really means things are a little bit slippery. And if it were not for Chelsea's win in their last game, they were actually going to be sucked into that top 4 battle as well. So what are your thoughts around, first of all, Arsenal's chances and whether you guys can start to pull away from that? From that, it was actually a very welcome win against Spurs because it helped put the brakes on them. You can imagine if Spurs had won that, it would have been chaos. From number 3 going downwards, it would have been chaos.
Yes, Mathew. I think I'm going to side with Moses there on Arsenal's hopes. The Arsenal got on a good run. There's a number of games where Arsenal was, winning week in, week out. Martinelli, ESR, Emil Smith-Rowe, and Saka were running the show. These young, fearless kids, and you would see that there's something building at Arsenal. Arsenal was winning games and scoring goals, and they were starting to get some fear from the opponents. But I think Arsenal will come short. It's because they just lack that extra edge in terms of leadership and in terms of the experience to push the extra mile to get into the top 4. Right now, the top 4 is really hard to get into. And I think Arsenal may just come short. Arsenal's plan, you could actually read through Arteta's plan. He's trying to get young players in. The young players do the job. Before you know it, Arsenal is in the Champions League places and attracting big talent. Now, of course, if Arsenal can start attracting big talent when they make it to the Champions League, then I think they'll be moving on the up. But if they fail to make it to the Champions League, it will be difficult to attract the big talent. And I'm worried that Arsenal may end up in that kind of, group for a long time. If they fail to qualify for Europa, it's disastrous for Arteta, and I think he may get fired. So personally, I think Arsenal may just make it probably top 5. I think Arsenal will finish 5th. But I'm thinking Man United may squeeze into the top 4. Tottenham may fail to actually make the top 5, as much as they look very strong right now under Antonio Conte. And it was a very welcome win for us. We always beat Spurs. I don't know if there's a Spurs fan here. They really hate playing against Chelsea. I really enjoy playing against Spurs. In fact, we played them, I think, 3 times in the space of 2 weeks. I think that was the Carabao, semi-final. We beat them, I think, home and away. Then we beat them again in the league. So I really enjoy playing against. We really enjoy playing against Spurs, and I think Chelsea may not finish in the top 2. Previously, I expected us to finish above Liverpool, but I think for the games that we've been playing, the way Lukaku doesn't fit into the mix, he looks out of place. Even when Kai Havertz comes on, he doesn't really add a lot of value. I think Chelsea is good enough for 3rd. They may be too good to finish 4th, but not good enough to finish 2nd. So personally, I think we may finish 3rd. We just hope that we can win the trophies. We're having a number of cup games. In the FA Cup, this team, what's it called? Plymouth Argyles. The League One team took us all the way. I was really disappointed that we had to go all the way and depend on Kepa making the penalty save in extra time to save us from going into penalties, the lottery of penalties. And I was just really disappointed in that game because I thought Chelsea has kind of lost it. But all in all, I think we finished third at the end of the season and probably 1 or 2 cups along the way, including Carabao. Sorry for Liverpool fans.
Well done. Let's wait and see what happens. Let's wait and see what happens. But Musem, do you agree with that? Of course, the FA Cup was proven to be a bit tricky. As record holders, Arsenal fans, I know rush to win extra trophies. We want to give, the other football clubs a chance to catch up. And Man United, Mr. Musem, after trolling me and trolling several other Arsenal fans quite heavily after our FA Cup exit earlier in January, following the same fate. I don't know what your comments are, my brother, about that trophy. Musem, what are your chances regarding the losers match, the FA Cup?
Well, Mathew, I don't know. It's a bit difficult now to be trolled by an Arsenal fan. Anyway, we are both in a very bad state, but Arsenal is in a terrible shape. One, the FA, this season, I thought Manu should have gone for the cups. I know the hype the last time I was here, Ronaldo in, blah, 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 all that's, halabaloo. But it's very, very unfortunate that we've been knocked out of all the cups. We're knocked out of Carabao Cup, always first mistake. We've been knocked out of the FA Cup. That's Ralph's first mistake also. Because you need to keep winning something. I believe Arsenal and Manu are falling off this whole bandwagon because of not winning anything. Yeah, Chelsea has won here and there. You keep relevant somehow with the cups. So those are big mistakes for those 2 clubs to be out of the cups. Very, very bad. And I believe the fans are demoralized. Just because we know that the league ended in around December. I know that Liverpool fans have some hope, but the cups were important.
Yeah.
So for
We're
us
still in the Champions League, though.
I don't want to be very optimistic about that, because when we're almost in a rebuilding state of sorts. You bring in a new coach, he needs time to figure out things. The window came, we only had exits. Manu only had exits, including people going to jail. So it's a bad shape that Manu is in. I don't think we're going to compete in the Champions League. Our squad is now thin a bit for that top 4 race. It's going to be very, very tight. It's really Squeaky Bum time. Spurs is on the rise. I think it should be close between Spurs and United. It could even go to the wire. The only advantage we hold right now is that we have easy games. I think our next 5 games are a bit easy. We have Brighton, Southampton, Watford, Leeds. So for me, initially, when Ralph came in, I wasn't very enthusiastic. But I looked at the schedule, the calendar, and I saw we had about 10, 15 easy games on paper to win. So all Ralph needed to do was to get 10 wins. We all know back in the day, Sir Alex Ferguson, Wenger, and all those top. You just need a run of 10 wins, and you're in things. And we can even see it now. Klopp and Pep will come and win 12 straight. Never see him again. Klopp will come and get 10 wins, 13 wins, 17. That's the mark of a champion. So when Ralph had to get those 10 straight wins that were easy on paper, then I said, fearing for our chances. He has another 5 to make amends. If we can get 5 wins out of the next 5 games, then I believe it's between us and Spurs. West Ham and Arsenal, I think you have your small battle somewhere in London. We shall leave you guys at that. But I think it's going to be tight. It's It's really Squeaky Bum time for top 4. You're right.
Yeah, man. And looking at your next few games, you have Burnley. After Burnley, you go to Southampton, who else, by the way, are not a piece of cake. Actually, Southampton come to Old Trafford. You are away to Burnley. Then you have you welcome Brighton and Hove Albion. We're praying Welbeck scores a hat trick here. Then
No
you
chance.
go visit Leeds.
Yeah.
Of course, that is a bit of a derby because you guys are neighbors, and that will also be interesting
Watford.
depending on what position on the table they are in. If they are teetering around relegation, you can never, you see a crazy game like a 4-3 win or 4-4. You never know
with
with
Ralph.
Leeds.
Not with
Yes.
Ralph. Ralph has a stable team in a way. We are a bit stable with Ralph. I don't
Yeah.
expect 4-3s anymore.
Mm.
Those will not pass. That's always style,
Yes.
You feed into the media.
Open, expansive, yes.
And all those things, want to go and attack. It's you need to hold fort sometimes, and then you can only be stubborn like the Leeds man, Bielsa.
Marcelo Bielsa, yes.
Yeah, but Ralph is a bit level-headed. The team has become stable under Ralph. I know if given more time and more personnel, I believe he can bring some stability to the team. He may not win anything. The problem with United is the moment we make a signing, immediately we start hyping how we're going to be, in the title race,
Yes,
Champions
yes.
League.
Yes. You're very right.
We need time.
That is humble pie for you there. And like you said, you have an easy run of games in February. So Leeds, the last game before you face Atletico Madrid in the Champions League first leg. Then you welcome Watford in February, and then March starts to get very interesting for the Red Devils.
Exactly. So
if I read you your next fixtures
before that time.
March kicks off. You are away to the Etihad, facing the noisy neighbors, City. Then you welcome Spurs to Old Trafford. After which, you have the second leg of the Champions League with Atletico Madrid. After which, you play Liverpool away at Anfield. And then you welcome Leicester City. And after that, Frank Lampard's Everton come to Old Trafford.
Very tight.
So it's actually interesting. And then you have Norwich after that, who will be battling relegation. And then, of course, Arsenal after that at the Emirates. So
it may not matter then, really. That game may not matter. That's a sad part that the Arsenal Man U games no longer matter. It's just
no longer matter. Yeah. By that time, things will be tough. But so where do you see Man United finishing? 5th or 6th?
No, I think we'll make it top 4, but it will be close between us and Spurs. Very close.
Spurs.
Yeah.
Okay, so I see you're putting Arsenal in 6th place, which we'll have to eat humble pie and accept.
Arsenal may not even go to Conference Europa, blah blah blah. I'm telling you.
My brother, we have nothing to say about that because when you compare Eddie Nketiah to even Anthony Elanga, you see that Elanga is much better.
There you go.
You see that. You go. So we are all eating humble pie for the first time together. Our tray of humble pie. It is quite humbling. But one point I want to put before you, Musem, regarding United, right? You lost very, I think, not crucial, but an impactful cog in your Man United attack recently with, Greenwood's events. Quite unfortunate, that situation. But do you think you can plug the gap? The likes of Edinson Cavani, Marcus Rashford, who is not yet back to form. And of course, probably the reason why this gentleman Lingard did actually leave in the January transfer window, because that actually, and Man United very lucky, because I'm sure he was off to Newcastle. So you would have seen the situation where the window has shut and then Greenwood's issues kick off, and all of a sudden you have an attacking crisis. If you have Pogba playing up front or Fernandes, if Cristiano Ronaldo or Cavani are injured, you have a sort of crisis there. But do you think you can actually withstand that gap? Because it is a gap. I know Elanga has come in, but he's not Greenwood. We saw what Greenwood, was capable of doing in the first quarter of the season.
No, that's a very big gap, Mathew. Because you look that Martial is out. We sent him to loan to Sevilla on loan.
Sevilla.
Then Greenwood gets his problems. And then on the last minute, we're about to release Lingard. that would have been a disaster of a window, if I may say.
Mm.
So there's actually a big hole, because you look that on the right we have Sancho, who is not yet, stable in the team.
Mm.
As he was trying to get his feet, Ole was sacked. Then we brought in a new person who has a different philosophy altogether. So actually, Manu is very thin. When I look at that squad, we're a bit thin. One injury to one of the top guys, and it looks very bad. Because if I look, Pogba is back, but I just hope he can find his footing somehow, in these few games. And then he can contribute to the success. But I see the games are many. We have Champions League. Atletico is not in good shape. I have a very strong feeling against Atletico. I think we should be able to put them away. But the business end of the season is going to be very tight. And I don't think, I'm a bit skeptical that we have the squad for it. You're looking at people like Mathew. Mathew will play 2-3 games out. Before you know it, a small knock to Ronaldo, and then the front is thin. Cavani can only give you so much. Rashford is still, trying to, organize his thoughts as well. So I'm a bit skeptical about our squad, by the way. It's so unfortunate, but Martial would have actually had an opportunity now to, to feel part of the group and contribute. Greenwood, I'm still bleeding for what happened to Greenwood. I just hope somehow in my dreams that it's all a big, fuss. So I'm a bit scared, but I like Ralph because he's level-headed. He can command these egos in the dressing room. He can tell, he can put players in their place. If you're not contributing, you can sit. If you're Ronaldo, we shall put you on the bench and then someone else contributes. So it will help people like Rashford, because I think Rashford had gotten over his head with this whole COVID thing, and he's now a star of sorts. It can get over it, and I think Ole was trying to tell him that you need to focus more on your football again. But Ole was with some of his guys, I believe Ralph should be able to hold these guys' egos intact a bit and then try to squeeze something out of it. Otherwise, the squad is thin, very thin.
I hear your concern.
You have McFred. That McFred combination, when things get serious, it can't hold its own.
Top scorers, man. What are you saying?
No. We're now in the business end. We need, consistent performance. In and out. Then Van de Beek is gone. I mean, this window was a disaster, right? He's off to Everton.
You sound like an Arsenal fan, and at this particular moment, let us turn attention to the guys, both Arsenal and Man United, very concerned about, and I'll kick it off with Moses. I mean, Antonio Conte bringing in 2 Juventus players, Betancourt and Kulusevski. Of course, they missed out on Adama Traore and Luis Diaz, who went to Liverpool. Do you think those 2 players can, can steady the ship for Spurs and start to get them those results? Their next few games, kicking off with this week on Wednesday is Southampton at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Then they play Wolves. That should be an interesting one at still in North London because Wolves knocking on the door before going to the Etihad to play Manchester City. So we do expect at least best case or worst case scenario a draw for Manchester City. And then they go to Burnley, who will be in a relegation dogfight away, before then also going to Leeds. So it's going to be interesting. And their match is also looking quite interesting as well, because they kick it off, FA Cup, that one is insignificant right now. We're focusing on the Premier League. But they welcome Frank Lampard Everton to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium before going to Old Trafford to play United, and then coming back home to welcome West Ham, which is another team we have not spoken about. And then after that, they play Aston Villa, Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa. At the back end of beginning of April. So it's actually going to be it's not as easy for Spurs. Yes, we respect Conte, but Moses, do you think Spurs can actually overcome City, United, West Ham, Wolves? Who are the other guys? Yeah, I would say those ones really. Burnley, yes, okay, the relegation fight, but I would say those are the big boys, and you only need 3.
To begin with,
Aston Villa as well. Aston Villa. Oh, they also have Liverpool. Hey, these guys are in trouble. And Leicester City. Yeah. Okay. It's not as straightforward for Tottenham Hotspur, where I know we're giving them a lot of respect, and rightly so, because they've really done well. But it's squeaky bum time, ladies and gentlemen.
To begin with, I think Tottenham Hotspur, before they got into the January transfer window, one of the things Antonio Conte said was, it's not an easy task, highlighting the fact that there was a lot of cleaning up in the system to be done. And you can see that the Tottenham that was playing in September, August, and October is not the same Tottenham that we're seeing today. The players are a little bit more aggressive. They play with more desire and passion, and there is basically unity in the entire camp, something that wasn't there previously before he came in. And when you look at the 2 players that he has brought in from Juventus, I really don't understand what is happening at the Old Lady, because those 2 players are incredibly talented and they play their hearts out. And I think that they will be really, really vital, because when you look at Bentaka, when he comes into the Spurs team, he will remind you a little bit of what Eriksen used to do, and he will be able to offer you a little bit of that. And the period where they have lost Dele Alli, who for me, I felt that he was always a mid-table team kind of player. Reminds you of the likes of Aaron Lennon, the likes of what was this young guy who came to United and then had to leave. Tom Cleverley. He didn't leave necessarily. Tom Cleverley he had the heart, he had the passion, but he just didn't have the capacity to play at such a level for Manchester United. But I think Spurs are going to be the team to really, really watch out. They're going to decide so much in terms of who gets to stick where in the top 4 conversation, because I think that right now they are the turning point. They may not necessarily have the squad depth, that Manchester City has, that probably Liverpool have, or even Chelsea has. But what they do have is that they have a coach who has mastered over his career the ability to get every single drain of juice out of someone. How he was able to win trophies with the likes of Victor Moses, basically mechanical players, and go to a league and actually win trophies speaks volumes about his player management. And that's the kind of person that he is. He's both a player manager, but then also he has a comprehensive analysis of his opponents. And so coming up against the likes of Liverpool, Man City, Man United, Arsenal, whatever, he is going to at least find a way of ensuring that out of those 4 teams that he has to play, he will pick 6 points. If he loses to Man U, he will not lose to Arsenal. If he loses to Chelsea, he will not lose to Liverpool. And that's the kind of guy that he is. So I think that he has the capacity, to change things. And he's, like I said, Spurs have a big say on who gets to finish in the top 4. They will not have a say in who gets to win the Premier League, because I remember I said this in August when the season was beginning, and I'll reiterate it every opportunity given. Man City were always going to, change things along the way in December.
Yeah.
Chelsea started incredibly well with Thomas Tuchel after that Champions League win. The buzz was still hot in the air. And then suddenly it cooled out with a few injuries that set in, and suddenly we're back to normal. Liverpool started poorly, but now they are hot. They are very, very hot.
With Mo Salah and Sadio Mane coming back, actually. Next week.
Mo Salah and Sadio Mane left, but by the time they left, were literally playing FA Cups and Carling Cups, so they were not really so much missed. I think they've only missed 2 games, if you look at it. But when you look at Man City, these are guys who are playing for a manager who has made it possible for even a guy who is on the bench to at least make sure that he's starting a game or he's playing at the very least 40 minutes, which means at any given time, he's given an opportunity. He's going to come and deliver as much as a guy who's being taken off the pitch. So that's the difference that Man City have over the rest of the other teams. And I think Spurs, for them, it's all about using the energy and trying to be as clinical. And the beauty that they have now is Harry Kane is scoring the goals, Son is scoring the goals, and everyone seems to be getting into the picture. That's the difference.
Let's wait and see. Finally, and I'll pull Mabzi in for this one. The guys from the other side of London, West Ham, and in particular, those 2 players, Jared Bowen and Mikel Antonio. Mabzi, what do you think these guys have to say about the top 4 places? Are they out of steam, or do they still have something to offer?
West Ham. West Ham, I'm actually shocked that they've really performed well again this season. Of course, they have European football, and they've really performed well even in Europe. And the fact that they've stayed up there amongst the not so big boys, but slightly smaller boys, because the big boys are, them, the top 3. The rest are just slightly smaller boys. So they've stayed among the slightly smaller boys, and they are bound to cause some, trouble in there, and put some pressure on the likes of Tottenham, Manchester United, Arsenal, in there fighting in for the top 4. But I don't think they'll make it to the top 4 this season. I don't think they may even be finishing the top 6. I think they'll still finish below Tottenham, probably outside the European places. I see them going far in the Europa League. They look very efficient in Europe. And I think the fact that they may go far in Europe, it may kind of be their downfall in the league, because they may be focused on going far in the Europa League and probably drop a number of points in the league. They've been hot and cold. They've been blowing hot and cold in the league. You expect them to win a game, then they drop points. Then they play a big one like the Chelsea game. Then they beat us. So they're blowing hot and cold. I don't think they'll finish in the top 6. But they're very good. David Moyes is doing a good job. Them performing this well with the quality of players they have. Jared Bowen, Fornals, Antonio, they're really doing well. I think
Declan Rice.
Declan Rice. I think in the FA Cup they just survived over the weekend. I think with the players that are there, the fans will not even be disappointed that West Ham probably finishes 7th. The fans didn't really expect much anyway. Probably them going far in the cup competitions may do good for them. So I don't really see West Ham. I don't really see West Ham doing much because of their expectations. But I'm really glad that they've done better.
They're giving it a good push.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Definitely. Finally, thank you. Finally, Musem, the outsiders. Your comments very briefly as we bring the show to a close. Very briefly, Wolverhampton Wanderers. Can they spring a surprise, especially after losing Adama Traore?
No, it's way ahead of their curve. They can't make it. The people above them are really big. They won't even be ahead of West Ham. So I don't think they stand a chance. They've done very well so far. And I think they're trying to put their team and their play together. I think it will come full circle next season. This season, I don't give them a chance. They're outside of it.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And we'll have to bring it to a close. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've just joined us, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe, play back. That's why it's online on YouTube, and you'll be able to catch quite a bit of the action. Thank you very much for joining us, Ahmed Musem and Echodu. We look forward to the next time you return. Have a great week and Godspeed. Thank you.